Welcome to the Inside Integration Podcast. This is a special episode for the holiday season. In the vein of those who celebrate Festivus, this is the airing of grievances.
Merry Greatmas, everybody. It's time to get out your complaints. It's time to air out your grievances. It's time to get that weight off of your shoulders because you've been carrying it around for the last at least 12 months, I would say at this point. Maybe more. Maybe it's from last year, right? Maybe it's from 2021. I don't know. But it's time to ditch that weight, get the dirt off your shoulder, as they say, and clear the air. Get some of your your gripes and moans out.
And by time to get those gripes off your shoulders means our shoulders, and
Oh,
we're
right. Well, we're the ones that are going to be griping. Have we introduced ourselves? I'm not sure, but if we
yeah.
haven't,
If we haven't, my name
let's
is
complain
Chris.
about that.
I'm Chris. That's Jayson,
Hello, everybody.
and welcome to Inside Integration.
We're excited to have this episode. We've been joking around about it a little bit before we started recording and trying to politely, not be too specific and get on anybody's radar, but also make sure that we're talking from the heart, talking earnestly, because we do a lot of content that's based around our lines or our business or what have you. But really, this is just Chris and I kind of chopping it up. We are gonna talk shop, of course, because that's the vein of our podcast. That's right. That's kind of what we're about here. But pardon me, on this particular episode, we are going to clear the air and we're going to talk about some things that are frustrating us on a regular basis, day in and day out, some things we'd like to see improved. Again, you guys might agree with us, you might disagree with us. Hit us up on the socials to
Yeah,
to agree or disagree. We'll have some fun thumbnails and some cool art, as always, thanks to Chris Barlow. And I'm going to complain right now that he always makes me look bad while looking to make me look good at the same time. So it's really conflicting to be angry at the guy, but also grateful for all the hard work and
this
stuff he
is
does. So
this is a very low hanging fruit episode. This was very much born of, hey, what do we do more than anything else? And the answer to that is complain. So
right, we
let's
do.
do
Oh my
that.
God, the show before the show
Yeah,
really is where the gold is. So if you're ever lucky enough to hear some of our rants before we get on, and
yeah,
maybe we'll
sure.
put it behind a paywall one day. But for
Yeah,
for
maybe someday.
now, just
All right.
know that the show before the show is maybe as good as our show.
It's, I mean, lately with how things have been going, the show before the show after the show that's just me and you having a phone call on a Friday
Yeah,
afternoon. I mean, that's really, you know,
the 10 p.m. tequila filtered commentary
just text
on the
message
weekend.
thread where you're just hammered. Yeah,
Yep,
absolutely. Sure.
we've been there. All good.
So, grievance number one, poor customer service.
Oh man.
We find ourselves in the middle of this. Obviously, we're not end users, and I feel this is a frustrating thing for dealers, really, because we kind of, as your reps, we get caught in the middle of this a lot. So poor customer service has to be number one. That's, there's lines out there that we hear stories of this stuff all the time, that it's like, hey, I got sent the wrong thing, and it's been 16 emails to 14
Oh,
different departments.
I ordered this replacement thing that has this very specific address. It's extremely hard to get to. Thanks for shipping that to my office. Appreciate you doing that.
It's an hour away.
Really helpful. It's not an hour away. It's hours away.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little too much inside baseball, but those are the kinds of examples that really really remind you that this is a service industry, right? Like
I mean,
we're here to bring we're here to bring the noise for our
right.
clients, and
Right.
unfortunately, it doesn't always go our way.
Something got screwed up, and the only thing that could make that something getting screwed up even worse is to make a person jump through hoops to resolve the thing getting screwed up in the first place. Just very
Oh,
important thing to remember, no matter who you are. Like,
especially when it's
let's
really well intentioned, right?
right,
Like,
sure. Absolutely.
yeah, we were really shooting for the stars here. I know I missed the mark wildly, and it's actually way worse now than it was before. But
Right.
it was coming from a good place, you
Yeah,
know.
you returned an apple. I sent you three oranges, and you should be grateful. Is not a great way to not a great way to do customer service, buddy.
No, it's a bad, it's a bad look all the way around. It's
Yeah. So, and again, as your reps, we frequently find ourselves in the middle, bridging the gulf in between, being your punching bag, which is fine, being the manufacturer's
yeah.
punching bag, which is also fine.
Well,
Um,
I think that's kind of part of the role, right? Like you're the first line of defense, good, bad, or indifferent.
Absolutely.
The good reps are known as good reps, it seems like, because of how they respond to those kinds of situations. And I'll be honest with you, I think I'm batting about maybe 650, 700. In baseball that would get
It's
me,
enough for the Hall of
all of
Fame,
the Hall of
baby.
Fame. But in life, if you're north of 600, you're probably doing okay. You're probably better than a lot. But there are those circumstances, but you just, like, what can you do? Of course, two stars collided somewhere where that has nothing to do with my life,
Right.
but because of that, there's some trickle down butterfly effect that has caused
Right.
this situation right now, and there's nothing I can do about it.
And at the end of the day, it's really important for all parties to remember that we're all human beings. Most of us are just trying to do the best that we can. We have no power over a snowstorm that's localized over FedEx's
Oh my
distribution hub.
God.
Like, we're truly trying here. But let's just all kind of keep that in mind. Maybe bring the temperature down a couple notches. I know that widget isn't going to get there for Christmas, but
Just put the
we're doing
TV
the
on the
best we can.
floor for now. It'll be fine. Just
Yeah,
keep the dog away from it and you'll be good.
absolutely.
That piece of furniture will be there in no time. Don't worry.
Absolutely. And yeah, you know, I think our second thing we maybe want to address here is, again, in line with all of this stuff in manufacturers, is, man, that race to the bottom is, whoo boy.
I throughout this last year, and I think it's part and parcel with just it's the nature of all technology. But this past year, the amount of zeal that I've seen manufacturers put into announcing things that make them less money, make dealers less money, and making that the cornerstone of a marketing campaign and outreach is frankly a pretty major bummer and something that I'm vehemently against. I realize that there are macroeconomic forces at work with technology. Things get cheaper. Dow's law. You could reference a million different things out
Sure.
there that points to, hey, these things are going to be more prevalent, less expensive, hard to justify a premium. But if you're a manufacturer in that lane, why would you even bring those solutions to market? Just a question. Or why wouldn't you try to soft pedal that, or work with your other frenemies or competitors or whatever you want to do or whatever you want to call that to really establish a niche that kind of is a bulletproof bubble, that kind of is a barrier where it's going to be really hard for an outside company to come in and make a play.
Well, or
We're seeing it certainly in the audio business, in the TV business, in those commoditized products. But how long is it until we've got you know you, you know you name it, product Y, that is the all the rage right now in custom install, super premium. Oh, okay, now you can go to buy that at Home Depot or
right.
something.
Well, I mean, I'll come at it with another angle, and that race to the bottom. It's not just exclusive to manufacturers. It's exclusive to guys in a market, right? Like,
Oh,
who
sure.
who doesn't know, right? Like, there's an established custom integrator who does great work or whatever, and then all of a sudden, some upstart like rolls in. It's like, hey, I'll do this. I'll work all through the night. I'll do whatever, and it just, yeah, their quality of work is not that great, but man, they are cheap, right? Like, I mean, I guess there's a niche for that, but that's, come
Yeah,
on,
there's
let's
always
let's have a little pride here, folks.
having been a slammer myself, and I'll wear that badge with pride because I personally don't think that it's the derisive
No,
moniker that many people call it, because I know some guys that do 7-figure year businesses right out of the back of their van and their car, and
absolutely.
ain't nothing trunk slammy or dodgy about that scenario. But yeah, like, that's not the only people that are making this decision, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
there are major integration firms that are like, yeah, we're the biggest Sonos dealer in the world, and not no knocks on Sonos here,
Nope.
but it is not the most margin rich opportunity out there in the streaming audio business, we'll just say, right?
It's not the most customer satisfaction rich one
Well,
at this point in time.
there's a nice little dovetail. I'm going to send you a gold star for that tie-in, sir. but
Yeah.
but yeah, like what are we doing, right? We want to remain premium. Obviously, you want to stay relevant. You want to stay affordable. You want to offer turns. You can't have your guys sitting around doing nothing. So
So
there's going to be some market influences that are going to be pushing the ASP or the average sale price of your projects lower. But I think we've seen by and large as a trend that that lower and middle kind of ground has gotten significantly more expensive. So you should always be trying to shoot for the stars. You should always be offering your clients, hey, this is what I think the best solution is for you, and then give yourself some rope to give them a good or a better kind of
yeah.
offering. And yeah, I always say never prejudge a customer, but always qualify them when you're
Mm,
talking to them, because the worst thing you can do is walk into Richie Rich's house and start pointing at $25,000 this and $75,000 that when the guy just wants like
right.
TV, a sound bar, an Apple TV, or
Yes.
whatever. And I've just defeated my own argument with racing to the bottom. But the
Well,
reality is, you
scope
could
your audience,
classify
right?
exactly.
Do
But
your
the
scope
client
research.
doesn't have to necessarily know what those items cost. Okay, you got a couple of BMWs, you got a Ferrari, you got whatever in the garage. You clearly have a taste and you can afford some higher end things. Have you heard about the James soundbar? Have you heard about these custom things? The guy can still get his TV and soundbar and Apple TV, but
Yep.
doesn't have to be the least expensive options out there just because that's what the client's perception is, right?
Absolutely. And that, I mean, the faster you can get away from competing on price to the
Oh my
point of
God,
competing on experience and story and that
service,
sort of thing, service,
yeah,
absolutely. That's a place you need to be. And yeah,
right.
maybe it's not feasible in most markets or with most targets or whatever it is. Like I hear it all the time. Like I got a lot of friends who are real great integrators, small, 3-man team or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we're getting undercut by, these guys. Like this guy, yeah, he tore a phone number off of a flyer that was on a lamppost and that's where he got this other dude's number. You know, it's, you
You got to
gotta,
work on your riz, man.
yeah,
If you're out there, and I will say, like, there is some like perception of, hey, like, I like this guy. I want to do business with this dude,
totally.
right? If you come in there and you're acting like a total snob or a total geek, or you're just not relating to the client in the way that the client, can consume those things, and maybe that's where sales guys come in with emotional intelligence, or they're good poker players or what have you. But I mean, there's some pretty clear bellwethers that you can point to and say, hey, okay, I need to put my foot on the gas here, take my foot off the gas here, and approach these things in a way where people want to do business with me, right? Like,
Yep.
hey, like, hey, I like this guy. I'd rather give him money than, some guy down the road. So if you're some big outfit and you're getting scooped by the guy with his number on a pole that's got a good rep, maybe you should take a look in the mirror first before you start looking at
Yep.
what's going on with the little guys out there with 7-figure business. You can't figure out how they got there.
Absolutely. So, in line with the product side of things, you're heading out to CES. When is that? Like a week or two?
Oh well, yeah. There's my gripe for the year. So I'm
Ah,
going to complain that I did this to myself, right? Because for a number of years in my profession, I went to CES out of because you're going to CES. This is where you work, and
came
this
with
is
the
where we
territory.
work, and,
Yep.
and you're going there. So, um, and it was always kind of a mixed bag because CES is kind of like going to the circus or Lollapalooza
It's
or
like a Turkish
whatever.
bazaar
Yeah, but yeah,
with massage chairs and
it's
drones.
nuanced. Yeah, and robots. Yeah,
Mm,
for sure, robots. But there's always a lot going on there. But it's kind of like going to the Super Bowl at the same time because there's a lot of celebs. There's a lot of weird things going on.
a lot of
But
stuff.
it's nuts though, right? If you're not a fan of crowds, if you're not a fan of being patient or just managing seas of people, which
Social anxiety need not
social
apply.
anxiety, yeah, this is going to be a tough one for you, dog. You know what I'm saying? And in the recent years, I've found that my barrier for what I'm willing to accept with large groups of people has gotten a little lower. So it's going to be interesting to see what that's like for this year. But I'm going to complain now that I'm going to CES, the biggest electronics show in the world, and I'm very hopeful that there's going to be a bunch of relevant products to the custom install space and premium electronic space. But my gripe is that there probably won't be. And my gripe is that more manufacturers in our lane need to raise their profile and get on the international CNET tech, press loops. You need to create products to drive awareness to our business, because otherwise it's going to become commoditized and disappear into the ether as all things become conglomerates and construction companies and builders start to incorporate, you know, independent businesses into their verticals. I think some of the choice and some of the experience and nuance of that is going to go away. So please, CES, my big complaint is make it a little bit harder to get in, which you kind of did that this year. So kudos to you. And secondarily, like, let's bring the noise, bring back the high end audio show, do something that's like badass in Vegas, not just another
Right.
video
Convention
sphere.
hall.
You're
Right.
right.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing the sphere. I'm just
That's good.
as a personal geek out thing for me. That thing's right up my alley. Like, I got to see that in person. Like, I'm just gonna try to figure out how I can get a vantage point of that for an evening and just kind of check it out and watch what it does. Should be good.
Yep. Okay. I mean, yeah, and we'll look forward to you're going to be like an on-field correspondent for this
Yeah,
because I
so
am
there's another
not
gripe. I
going
guess I have
to
to figure
CES.
out. I'm griping. Here's my complaint. You're not going to be at CES, so any footage that we get, any audio that we get is going to be completely up to me, which my degree in video production from 1995 may not exactly parallel into 2025, but oh my God, those numbers just popped up in my head real fast, and I did the math about how long ago that was. But regardless, it's going to be exciting,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to popping something up and seeing what's out there. Maybe it'll be maybe some earth-shattering tech or something
Well,
new. Who
in
knows?
in a lot of ways, CES, just because it's the very beginning of the year, it's a good chance to kind of see things before they really are making the general. And obviously, there's publications and websites and that kind of thing. But like to get there and see it and have one of your own, be able to mess with the thing. There's value there for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get the Osmo Pocket out. We're gonna be hitting it up. Still haven't gotten a microphone scenario sorted out yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we
You're
get there.
good. It's
And maybe I
fine.
don't need it. You'll get that live sizzle in the background.
You could do some amazing things with I mean this is where I started out too, like just add a CD original, pointed a camera at somebody, our friend Marshall, and
Oh, Marshall Courier.
yeah, and just didn't have any foresight into, hey, holy, there's a lot of people around, and AI was able to to really bring that stuff down and isolate that voice really well. So
Oh man.
I'm fairly confident that I can do something with whatever you give me. So,
Okay. Well,
and
I'm going to make another gripe. I'm going to be one of those D bags with a selfie stick and a little camera on the end
there you
of it,
go.
probably trying to do a stand up with a camera on the end of a fishing pole. So
D
there we
bag
go.
away, baby. Yep,
Hell
that's
yeah.
it.
Let's do it.
Speaking of D bags,
Ooh.
my next grievance here is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn related,
Boy.
just because a big part of my day is looking at LinkedIn in a marketing capacity. And yeah, I was thinking this the other day when I wrote it down. I mean, I think really the big gripe here, and maybe you share this gripe where you're swiping your feed, is the big sweeping posts from individuals that are taking some really dumb mundane things and just like trying to stuff in a life philosophy. So I'll give you an example, and there's maybe you're thinking in your head, the people who do this, because there's a pretty good group in this world who does this very same thing. But when you equate going to the beach, or playing with your kid in the yard, and you equate that to some weird sales lesson that doesn't really jibe together, it just comes across as inauthentic. And it's just looks like you're just the dumbest shit. I'm sorry, but man,
Wow. Well, I
come
mean,
on.
Merry Christmas. Let's put a bow on that one. Holy cow. Like going for it. I love it. But yeah, I agree. The main player syndrome, as I've heard it referred to, that
Main
has kind of,
character syndrome.
that is
As an Orange County resident, something I deal with every day.
right. And we're all guilty of it, right?
Sure.
You're caught up in your own movie in your own head, and you're looking at your life, and you've done some things that are good, maybe you've done some things that are bad, maybe it's been successful, maybe you haven't.
Yep.
But I think part of the disease, if you will, of the internet is it's given everybody their own channel, for better or worse, to espouse their beliefs, to share their opinions. Again, for better or worse, we're on a
I
podcast.
mean, we're
We're
sitting here
doing the
doing a
exact same
podcast,
thing, right?
Jayson. So
Exactly. No, I mean, we are fish of the same stripe, or tigers of the same stripe, or whatever you want to call it. But I do agree that there is a point where you shouldn't be like turning back and pretending that all the other fish in the pond are your audience, right? They're all kind of swimming in the same direction, thinking about whatever they're thinking about. I
right.
think it's super helpful to share insights and learnings with people. Obviously, what school's about, it's what books are about, it's what literature, all that good stuff, science, the whole 9 yards. But if you're using any social media platform, but specifically LinkedIn, as a platform
Yeah.
to talk about anything that's not really business related, that isn't about
Oh, that's so. This is the
the
extended
job, right?
part of this
Oh
grievance.
God, it's
Is the
crazy.
the non vocational things that are on LinkedIn today are just
Insane.
wow.
This
This is
it's not Facebook, it's not Instagram, it's
yeah.
not TikTok, but you're taking swipes at it like it is,
How come
right?
this woman is half naked in my feed? And oh shit, director of HR for whatever. Like,
Ooh,
what are we doing here, folks?
watch out,
Like,
watch
come on.
out.
I'll share that with you. But
I mean, it's fine, but and present yourself. That's what LinkedIn's supposed to be for. Present yourself however you would like others to perceive you. And I would say that goes for all social media platforms. But when you are repeatedly tying in, whether it's political, religious,
hey,
socioeconomical
the other day I was
threads,
the other day I was doing my CrossFit routine, and here's how the giant tire taught me a lesson about business to business sales. Like that might actually be in my feed, honestly.
I mean, what I was going to say, was that a very specific example? Do we need to delete that?
No, I see. I figured I would take all the typical ingredients,
Oh,
the
okay, good.
CrossFit brag and yeah. I figured I'd just weave them all
The
together.
fitness at 50, not the fatness at 50
I mean,
brag.
sure, whatever you got. Yep.
Oh man, I need to be fitness at 50. I need to actually embody some of that. So maybe that's some of my gripe about this. But I agree with you. The sweeping recommendations, as if you are a pontiff or an expert to give advice. Maybe not. And again, I always try to classify this podcast as we are not experts. We're just a
No,
couple of chuckles,
we try to be humble. We try to be
having
humble.
some giggles, and talking shop, and saying things out of one side of their face and talking out of the neck of your other. But it's just one of those deals that yeah, I think everybody should maybe take a little bit more of a 3,000 foot view of themselves, if they can't possibly, and try to use those tools, try to use those platforms in ways that are beneficial to your business, that are beneficial maybe to your career.
Totally.
Like I will say, I paid for LinkedIn Premium for a while. I'm virtually certain that that gateway, if I was a different in a different profession, a different lane, paying for that subscription would absolutely been beneficial to my job search, to developing my career path, to opening other doors. Even in the limited capacity that I use it for in a very, very, very narrow thread through the LinkedIn career universe, in AV, still garnered some responses, still got some outreach and some connections, just just by virtue of the fact that, oh, you paid the money to be serious. You're here to be a professional. You're actually investing in your career. And I think maybe that,
Sure.
levels you up in the algorithm, or at least puts the robots in contact to make you feel like you're getting
Well,
more value for your investment. But yeah, to use that like it's Facebook, and to put pictures of your kids and your grandchildren, I think is the not only the wrong use for that platform, but kind of poor form.
all right, you heard it here first. Jayson hates kids. But if
No, I'm like
LinkedIn,
Trick Daddy. I love the kids.
that sounds like a P Diddy post I saw the other day.
No, no,
Oh
no,
no, all right,
no,
yeah, okay.
no, 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 no lube here, buddy. No
Oh
baby oil. No, nothing glistening over here. I don't want it wet or
wow,
shiny or nothing. Nope, dry.
Festivus has gone off the rail. It's going to be feats of strength coming up any second now.
You got to pick up that pinch barbell. see, see if you can pick that joker up.
Woo, yeah. All right, so the last one I have is a selfish one here. The lack of hands-on trainings. I've been on a rep site here for 4 years. We've dealt with a lot of manufacturers. I know COVID was a big part of that and whatever, and that kind of curtailed everybody back. But the lack of hands-on training that is available out there, and like there's exceptions, right? Pro Source Academy is a big one. Like that's a pretty awesome one. You can go to a place and learn how to do things. That's great. But like the manufacturers aren't having, like, I remember a time when there was a Crestron installer class that that I got sent to, and it was because it was close, but like you went there and it was classroom and whatever, and you did all this outreach. I'd like to see a whole lot more of that. And in conjunction with that, and maybe this is because I was an integrator not too long ago, and trying to find training for the guys who were on my staff was kind of tough. And didn't always work out to put them with another guy. I would love to see more outreach on a technical level from manufacturers. Like right now, manufacturers do a great job of the sales points and the specs and everything else. And like they'll come and visit you in your office, if they're in town, they come in and they give you, there's a whole presentation, everything else. But what's kind of missing from all of that is the practical side of it, right? Like it's great that the principal of the company buys into the philosophy and the margins are good and all that stuff is great. And the sales guys buy in and this thing does this and it fits into this, this tier or framework, whatever. But what you really need is the technicians who are installing the stuff to know know how to install it and do it fast and well, and
Right.
B, like feel like that manufacturer has their back. So with relation to that, one of the things that we are trying to stand up, we talked about it a little bit at the last episode, is we are looking to do a workshop training in the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. We're trying to get the logistics together here right now. And again, me doing it, not a skilled event planner or organizer or anything else. That's, we're moving through it. But
Yep.
basically what we're looking to do is get manufacturers in. We're looking to have an event. We're looking to have guys, have dealers come in and basically have some hands-on trainings in one place. We're looking to do, feed you lunch, have the regular sales part of what a typical show is, have the networking part of what a show is, but also dedicate time to hands-on stuff like setting up a Sony TV, like how to, how to wire up linear lighting, like that kind of thing in your territory is something that we're really looking to, make some waves on and kind of get off the ground. And I just don't think it's being done enough, at least by the manufacturers, definitely not by the rep firms. So we're trying to do something a little special here.
Yeah, I think taking the step out on the ledge to lead by example, and to use the solutions that we talk about and to demonstrate them practically. Like for example, a linear lighting thing that you mentioned. We talk about lighted toe kick. Well, how do I install that? What do I need to do? Like if this is a solution that I'm going to offer, tell me how I do that,
Yep.
because I don't know. Right. And I'm speaking personally. I mean,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
for that, from that standpoint, like let's build a workshop around some simple solutions that are saleable, that you can present to clients confidently and say, yeah, even if this is a retro, here's how you do this. Here, if this is a new construction, this is even easier. Maybe we can do a battery backup for your kitchen, like, or for your for your bathroom toe kick. Like there's so many different ways now that you can make stuff happen that don't require home running stuff, like
Right.
just goofy little things where you're like, oh, I never even thought about that. Those are the kinds of, classroom hacks or workarounds, I
Yep.
think, that we want to focus on. How to set up the TV from when it's out of the box, how to align the panels in the projector real quick, how to get the receiver on the network. Just,
Yep.
simple little things for the Sony side. Obviously, maybe take a look at what we've got for Sony. And we want to pick some vendors that are really, really strong, that have a deep bench in terms of technical capability. And maybe you're only scratching the surface of what that stuff can do. So
Yeah,
I
and
agree with you.
one of the big reasons that we want to do this is A, the lack of it, but B, like, yeah, there's manufacturers training classes that require you to fly to the factory and do whatever. And
And
there's,
go.
yeah,
If you get an opportunity to do that, absolutely go.
at 100%. But if we put it in a market, and it's a 1 day, no sweat, no hotel room thing, that's fun to go to and kind of interface with your peers and that sort of thing. That's what we're looking to do. And we're looking to pull, we're looking to give something to the community in that way, and kind of bridge that gap between, and get manufacturers and dealers together to come up with productive things and man, just make everybody better. That's really what we're all about. So
Yeah, well, and if you're confident that you can present these things, or you've had your hands on it before, you're not beta testing at a customer's house, right? You're staying out of those pitfalls of, oh crap, I've painted myself into a corner. Now what? So you got a chance to kind of think through how you're going to execute
yep,
some of these things. So
absolutely. And
those,
who hasn't gone to a training thinking that it's a training, right? Like I think manufacturers' definition of training is different than dealers.
sales messaging is different than training.
Yeah, when you roll in as a technician, and you pick this training off of a card sheet or whatever, if it's CEDIA or regional or whatever it is, and you go in there and it's all about like, oh, this is how our intake forms work, and like, you're a field tech, what do you care? Like you don't care at all. So that's what we're looking to provide here is something that's definitely more on the practical side and relevant in a non-sales way.
Yeah, here's how you job cost average 4 installs. Techs are like, what am I here for?
I terminate Cat 6. I don't. What am I
What do you
doing?
want? Green, white, green, red, white, orange,
Yeah,
white, blue, blue, white, orange. Like, what are we doing
I
here?
can give you the TIA 568B pattern, no problem, right? But like, I don't give two shits about what you're teaching me in this class. That's what we're looking to avoid. So
100%.
stay tuned for more details. We are literally we have an in-person meeting up in Seattle that we're all going into, and we're going to talk about this as a team and hopefully get some information out in the very near future. Right in
But
the
send
very
us your
beginning.
recommendations. Respond to this. Pardon me. I've been chewing Pall Malls apparently today, even though I haven't smoked a cigarette in 25 years.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's how
Oh,
they
is
get
that
you.
what it is? It was a time release one, or they were waiting the whole time. But
That's right.
yeah,
You're
we
alive
want to
for
hear.
pleasure. You're alive with pleasure for now.
Oh man, you come a long way, Virginia Slim. Let me tell you. But I was gonna say, if you've got some feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. Give us a comment on the YouTube page. Hit us up on the socials,
Yep.
on LinkedIn,
This this
oh
is
my
right
God.
where this is where I'll put all our information.
This is
I'll,
where
I'll
all the
insert
old
it.
guys can't even give you guys an Instagram handle at inside_integration. So easy for me to say. So easy for you to find.
Yep.
Like us, subscribe, hit us up on the YouTubes, do all that stuff. I don't know what it all does, but we're supposed to ask for it every time because I
Yeah.
think it grows our pie, and it lets people know above us that you guys are watching.
Pie
You're
is
paying
delicious.
attention. And I mean, is it a pizza pie? I just had a really good one when I was in Florida,
It's a
and
lie. There's no
I'm
such thing in
still
Florida. Nope. Sorry.
sorry, man. There's some
Wrong.
swamp. There's some coming from. I'm not going to use this term
Central Florida.
derogatorily.
Good pizza. Never the twain
It's a
shall
true.
meet.
It's a true thing. It's a real thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you.
And
Two slices
yeah,
and a Coke and a salad for $5. Deal with it.
I mean that's about the right price for Central Florida. So
It's fine.
yeah, hit us up on Instagram at inside_integration. Hit us up, shoot us an email, insideintegration@gmail.com. I'll put all that information right below us, and we'll see you next time. And if we don't talk to you before then, have a great holiday.
Happy holidays, everybody. Hopefully, we'll see you guys, hear you guys next year. We'll all be in for something new and exciting on so many different levels. So get ready to
Woo!
save up your gripes for this episode next year. So take care, everybody. Happy holidays. Bye bye.